2. Hello, hello, hello.
Nope. Push the red button.
I turned mine on. It didn't make any difference. 2. Nope.
No. Testing.
Hello, hello. Oh, okay. Like you said. All right. All right. Wednesday, June 12th, 2024, 7:01. Let's call our meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Austin.
Here.
Austin Davies.
Here.
Owen Costanza.
Here.
Jeff Goings.
Here.
Dan Sheet.
Here.
Bruce Moore.
Here.
Betsy Straw. Here. Don Sattler.
Here. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see, we have no phone participation tonight. We have a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
And a motion by Jeff
Second.
and a second by Owen. Those in favor?
Aye.
Oops. Oh,
Move to agenda.
Oh.
Move to amend. Move to
Oh.
amend.
Jeff was going to move, have a motion to
Just
amend.
talking about. Yeah, I'd like to, we're gonna remove Veterans Park number 9 and remove number 10. Motion to discuss approve Mansfield Park tree donation. I gave a brief description. Last time Don gave a brief description, and we're gonna wait for some updates, so we'll just remove it.
So Jeff makes a motion to remove and amend it, to remove item 9 and item 10 from the agenda tonight. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Owen. Those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? The amendment passes. Now we have a motion to approve the amended minutes for tonight, or amended agenda for tonight. Who wants to make a motion? Oh, we already have a motion? Oh, okay. All right then. So we have the motion for the amended agenda, I guess. And those in favor of approving the the amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Okay. The amended agenda for tonight passes. Items 9 and 10 have been moved, or removed, I should say. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the Board of Trustees meeting minutes from May 14th, 2024?
Move to approve minutes from May 14th, 2024.
A motion by Owen.
Second.
And a second by Dan. Any amendments, any motions? If not, those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? No against. The minutes for the meeting from May 14th, 2024 are approved. Moving on to public comment. Did we have any public comment? I didn't see any.
No.
Nope. No public comment for tonight. Moving on to unfinished business, do we have a motion to discuss and possible approval of selection of contractor to perform tennis court restoration repairs?
Move to postpone the selection of contractors.
No.
Move to approve. Move to discuss and approve selection of contractors.
All right, we got a motion to discuss from Owen and a second from Dan. And we were talking about making a motion to postpone this.
Move to postpone till next week's meeting.
We got a motion by Owen to postpone it
To the 19th.
to the 19th. Do we have a second?
Second.
We got to postpone to the 19th by Owen and a second by Jeff. Those in favor to postpone?
Aye.
Those against? Okay. Agenda item number 2 is postponed until next week's meeting, the 19th. Moving on to item number 3, do we have a motion to discuss and approve ordinance 2024? We just have a dash. An ordinance of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, amending Title 6, Chapter 2 of the Village's Code of Ordinances to create a new section 6-2-10 to provide for commercial sewer credit.
So moved.
We had a motion by Owen.
Second.
And a second by Dan, and I believe we discussed this all at the last few meetings. And you want to give us a little synopsis for the
Right, so
record?
this is per, we've been discussing this for a little bit now. So this amends our code to provide for the actual commercial sewer credit that would be applicable to commercial retailers, basically the grocery stores who sell the 5-gallon jugs of water, because that water is not going through to the sewer system because it's getting bottled and then sold. This allows for a process and procedure to allow commercial vendors to apply for a sewer credit. I think talked about them applying and then supplying evidence of whether it's receipts, water usage, gallons, gallons sold, and then the village would be able to vet those numbers and ultimately decide if they.
All right.
Question.
Yes, Jeff?
Did we decide if they're gonna do it quarterly?
Yes, it indicates that it's quarterly.
It is
Quarterly
quarterly.
receipts shall be compared with the amount of water usage.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I noticed that in there, and I was just curious if the language was clear enough. It says something in there about board approval and something about submitting receipts for approval, and I was just curious, do you think that's clear enough, the way the verbiage is? Did anybody else?
I think it's correct, because I believe the office shouted.
Okay.
Can I
Yes,
ask the attorney a question?
yes, please do.
Mr. Zito, reading this proposed ordinance, it leaves a lot of discretion up to the board as to what to approve or not. The board acted in arbitrary manner, similar businesses and not approving others. I would think could that create.
I think, anytime the board acts arbitrarily and don't apply, I think that's create a problem. But here, obviously, what the board would be looking at, making sure that seats sold matches, the amount of water through, during the match, then there, if you're giving all sorts. So again, we have pacemaker right now. I think that's a grocery store in town. If you guys were to get a second grocery store that did the same, fills up the 5-gallon jug, and they ask for credit, you guys, and their numbers all match up, I think that probably is a problem.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I just want to reread through this one more time to refresh my memory from what I read it the first time. The new section here is 6-2-10. It says, commercial retailers of water to consumers, grocery or similar type stores that sell water via a dispenser that fills gallon or multi-gallon containers may apply to the village for sewer credits as such water is not sent to the village's sanitary sewer treatment system. Such application shall be submitted quarterly to the village and shall include documentation evidence the number of gallons of water that has flowed through the dispenser for that quarter. Examples of such documentation includes, but is not limited to, receipts for sales of containers of water, which shall include the number of gallons sold on each transaction and water meter reads from the dispenser. The quarterly receipts shall be compared with the amount of water usage shown on the meter for the dispenser. Upon submission of a request for sewer credit for a quarter, the village board shall review the receipts and the meter reading for a retailer and shall determine whether a sewer credit is due for that quarter and whether to grant such a credit. Any sewer credit approved by the village board will appear on a subsequent utility bill. And then it says, except as amended in this ordinance. Okay, I don't think that's boilerplate. Yeah, so I was just curious. I thought the intent would be for the board to look at the meters, look at the usage, and then give like not necessarily a special use permit, but a authority or whatever to get the credits. And then the credits would be submitted based on the approval by the village board to whoever
And I
is the
think that's
village.
what this applies, right?
Is that,
Yeah, they're gonna apply for the credit every quarter, provide the documentation to the board. The board is gonna review that document, make sure it fits itself. Okay, water meter said 800 gallons went through the meter. Their receipts show, hey, we sold 799, 800 gallons in 5-gallon jugs. Customers, here are the receipts, they match. Okay, that would then, you guys would then state, logically, I would say, okay, grant the corresponding sewer credit on the next bill. Okay, you guys vote that, then clerk, the office, whatever, would then give the credit on the next bill. So that's what's written.
okay. All right. I was thinking we would more approve the equipment in the but I guess 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So they submit it to the staff, and the staff then submits it in the packet.
Do you want to give the office staff the approval who does the water billing, so it doesn't have to come to the board, or do you want it to come to the board every time, quarterly?
I was thinking that we would approve the equipment, and that the equipment validated a credit.
What do you mean?
Does that make sense? Am I saying that clear enough?
I
So,
think
the
the staff in
machine-
Public Works is very capable. So
Oh,
there's
yeah.
been a pool credit.
yeah, a pool credit's a little bit different. You go out, you look, there's pool. This is a business credit on a non-village issued meter. So that's why it would involve the board a little bit
Oh,
more.
so what we should do, I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then,
I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
no, that's all right.
Well, what we could do, from the time that we approve this, we have David go over, have him look at the meters and say, Mr. Pacemaker, from here forward, these are the numbers that will go forward. So your receipts, if we come back quarterly and we look at the meter, we want to do it a couple times and make sure that your receipts are matching what the meter says on the machine. Or is that too much, you think?
I wasn't thinking that much.
Okay.
I was just thinking, just a one-time screening, like, kind of like we do for special use permits. Yes?
I think the hard part there is, can't, the machine, you have to, because it's not our meter,
Uh-huh.
right, they have to provide us the data from the meter. Or allow us to go look at the meter to show what was used in that quarter. Yeah, it's not like our home meter, a machine that goes in, we have the data directly.
Right.
You kind of need that data from them. You need a way to get that, and that's why we were saying, if your machine says that 800 gallons of water, we know that because it's not our machine, okay, we kind of have to trust that number from the water meter in that dispenser. The only way that we can vet that is that show me that you sold 800 gallons. There's no other way for us to vet that.
Pacemaker, that's a third-party billing system.
Yep.
We saw the receipts and Jeff got the information on the machines, so I don't think the company's gonna cheat.
Yes, Austin, did you have something?
Yeah, I think the board has to review and approve all the readings from the machine as well as the receipts and make sure the water sold matches up to the water that's reported to be going. So I think this might be the best compromise. I would like it to kind of be more specific so that it would be granted if certain parameters are met, but I think this
That's good, yeah.
I suppose the suggestion, right, ordinances are kind of living, breathing things, this is the first time that we're doing something like this, something along the way, and you guys, at that, the first time you get those quarterly numbers, if there are additional questions, the ordinance can always be to add additional checks and balances.
Well, the average was what, 800 gallons a month, or, I don't remember. We have to look at
Or
the
either.
receipts.
I think more than that.
Was it?
Was it more than that?
dispensing.
I would trust it if it was out of whack, the staff would say something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would too.
staff would look at it, we're gonna look at it.
Done.
Yeah, Dan.
I mean, even though it's quarterly, we just, barring the board approval, we get it in our packets. We get the information. If it's, way off, then we bring it in front of the board, and then we put action on it. Or if it's within tolerance, and nobody said, then just do a consensus, is that feasible? Instead of bringing it in front of the board every time and,
I guess my suggestion is you haven't done this yet, so why don't you guys let it run through a few times, see how it is, see if the numbers are the same, because for all we know, they might sell 800 gallons one quarter, 2,000 gallons another quarter, 300 gallons another quarter. We don't know what that's like, so we can't at this time say that, oh, the average is this, let's just
Right.
use that as an average until you guys see it play out.
Right, we've only seen one set of receipts.
well, I was talking meters to receipt.
Right.
Any variance there. If meters to receipt match, then, like if this one's, 500 gallons as opposed to the receipts, okay, then that's questionable.
I suppose it gives us a quarterly learning curve.
Yeah,
to-
something new.
All right, I'm good enough. Any other commentary?
I would just like to comment that I would not be in agreement with trustee Cheek's proposal of there being a consensus, being kind of agreement through the attorney with the board members not being at the meeting. I'd like it all be done in public at the meeting, so I agree with that.
Yeah, I think just having staff submit a packet to the board,
Yeah, just in the
3-4
Meeting
days in
packets.
advance or whatever. All right. Sounds fair. All right, so, no further discussion. Let's have a roll call vote to approve.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Bruce Moore,
Yes.
Betsy Straw. Yes. Austin Davies,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Owen Costanza.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 2024 dash, I guess the dash will come. All right, it is approved for the, I guess, commercial sewer credit for commercial water use. All right, moving on to new business. Item number 4, do we have a motion to discuss and approve resolution 2024 dash, to be known, pardon me? Okay, to be assigned a resolution approving Ansel Glink PC as the village attorney for the village of Poplar Grove, Illinois.
Moved.
And a motion by Owen,
Second.
and we got a second by Betsy. Any commentary or discussion anybody would like to bring up?
We're going to do a short presentation. Questions?
Well, they are here right now. There's Carrie Lynn from Ansel Glink, and I believe her assistant, I don't know your name. Richard Burley. Nice to meet you. And
They want to come up?
if you,
Give us a little.
if you have any commentary or anything that you feel is necessary, please come forward. All right.
Hello?
It's on.
Okay, so we represent about 343 public bodies in Illinois. We represent 72 municipalities. We have 48 lawyers. Several of us have served as elected or appointed officials ourselves. I'm a recovering township trustee. Rich is a recovering zoning board official. And we have other colleagues who've also served in other aspects. One of our colleagues is the Speaker of the House right now. So, law is a lot like medicine, where it's like you have a general practitioner and you have specialty. Well, even within the realm of local government law, we have people who specialize in different things. Labor and employment, zoning and land use, election law, construction litigation. We have a whole half of our law firm that does litigation, defending public officials bodies. So we can assist really with anything that comes up for you. We're also the authors of this book. We wrote this that free of charge, and then it's sold through the Illinois Municipal League. So that's pretty much it, but do you have any specific?
Yeah, I do. So in the packet, the hourly rate, it was 280, or it was separated out, or
I thought it was 255, wasn't it?
255?
255 an hour for attorneys and then paralegal.
Okay. The village, since I've been involved 10 years, routinely our bills have usually been right around $100,000. Last year, they were 150. We had a couple lawsuits. The attorneys did recover around 40,000 of legal fees. Our most recent budget was reduced to $50,000 on our size of our municipality. Thoughts, or taking a look at what workload, or?
We have no idea like what's required. We don't know if you're sued,
Right.
if you have labor negotiations. I mean, so we.
Those are coming up. Those will be coming up.
Yeah, so I mean, we can't predict that until we know what's going on. We try to avoid litigation. That's usually really super expensive. But one thing I can say is because we have a deep bench, yeah, if you have a question on bidding, if you have a question on labor employment, it's going to be hard for you to find a question you probably haven't dealt with some way or another. So you're not going to have to research the hours to answer documents, because since we represent so many municipalities, we have a lot of standard documents that we would just need to customize.
And we have our own kind of court here, where we handle our own ordinances.
Adjudication call?
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew that, so. That's
I had
once,
a brief
it's once a month if
conversation
needed.
with your attorney today. We
Okay.
were talking about some pending litigation.
Yeah.
Would that be transferred or not? And generally, it sounded like the litigation we have is almost on the end of the brink of it. So,
She's on starting.
starting?
The collections matter is, yeah, we just have service now, so.
Okay, so we would have to talk through if it makes sense to just keep on doing that. Or just to pick that.
Okay. Matt, I've seen your presentations at IML.
All right.
So I have Aaron, you've asked Ansel Glink before for items that you were not able to answer in your, so this is the same law firm that answered several of our items that we asked for before,
Yep,
correct?
there have been times where my office has consulted with Ansel Link, whether it's Julie, Norfolk, or other partners, and stuff like that. So yeah, they wrote the book on it there, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We're also the attorney for clerks of Illinois, so I know seminars that we do now.
If you, there was a electoral board manual that was written. They were instrumental as one of the attorneys in the not-for-profit agency that wrote that. So. Yes. Yes. 297 pages or so that was.
Your podcast, she said?
Oh, yes, so we do a podcast called Forum, and so that is another thing that if you have trouble sleeping, you might want to tune into. But we talk about like different topics that come up. We have two blogs. One is called The Municipal Minute, and my partner Julie Tappendorf, primary author of that blog, is one of the association, and that comes out just telling people this came, laws came down, or things. A large part of what we do in education and public officials.
Very good. Any more questions? All right. Barring any questions, roll call vote.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
Bruce Moore,
Yes.
Betsy Straw. Yes. Jeff Goings.
Yes.
Very good. Resolution 2024, appointing Ansel Glink as village attorney passes. Yes, sir.
So I did have a conversation with Carrie Lynn earlier today. So there is a pending status call on the collection. transitioned over to them. Kind of thing. Office.
Sounds great. If we got to work between you, that's perfect. Thank you.
I think the plan now will actually have
I
John over and
probably, since they are now officially the village attorney, and you're the backup attorney.
we are. Yep. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure working with the village for all these years and everything like that, so we appreciate that opportunity, and we wish the village the best. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Just get myself packed up.
Take your time.
Can you have a business card that we can get from you? Thank you, Aaron. Have a good night.
All right. Well, are you comfortable?
Damn.
Okay. Moving right along. Geez, this might be a short meeting here. Moving on to item number 5. Do we have a motion to discuss and approve the Class C liquor license application to allow for oops, I misspoke. Class K liquor license application to allow for to-go cocktails from Hideout Bar and Grill.
Move to discuss Class K license for Hideout Bar and Grill.
All right, we got a motion by Owen
Second.
and a second by Dan. Okay. Yes, did you want to elaborate on that?
So, in 2020, Pritzker signed into law due to COVID, an emergency law allowing restaurants to serve to-go alcohol, especially when they could only do to-go orders. That law then came permanent back in 2022. The village added that to our ordinances. Hideout is now asking if they can do that, especially with the gas station closing at 10 p.m. They get a lot of the truckers from the truck stop walk over and want a to-go beer, right? They want something. And so that is what they're looking at. It's already in our ordinance. They are the first in the village to ask for it.
All right. It's a weird law, but okay.
Yeah.
Didn't we try this like twice and nobody showed up?
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody applied for this.
No, it was automatic before.
It was automatic before, and then when the law expired, the emergency law, they did a whole new law. But we have to, they have to have a class with us. They can't just automatically get it.
All right.
So I have a question. When I was looking at the application, it shows that they have a certificate of insurance with Hoffman. Didn't list an amount. Do we have a required amount for them to have for insurance for things like that? And there was no certificate of insurance attached, which is, I would assume that we would ask for that.
We do ask for that. She might not have put it in just because of
There's
all
a
the
state
reactions.
statute requirement.
We have one on
So we
file.
have it on file and it covers what, I mean, to me, this would be more, make them more liable. So it would require maybe more insurance, or does it not?
That's an-
So, Dram Shop is requiring the state $1 million, but technically, cap on it, but that's, you have to submit to the state and to the local municipality, Dram Shop insurance, which is the liquor liability.
Right, and so how do we make sure that that's covered?
It's covered with the state law that was passed in
And do you
2020.
have their certificate of
Yes,
insurance?
yes.
Oh, that goes with the regular license.
Yeah, we do not give out licenses unless they give us their current
Gotcha.
up to date.
Yeah, I see it's already signed.
Yes.
Have you had any other municipalities going with this? Your recollection?
It's a to-go cocktails.
Not to put you on the spot, just.
of yet. The ones that I predominantly work with have not, but
Have not.
I know.
I'm just curious if it ring a bell with you.
Thank you.
All right.
All the liabilities.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it, so
I see it too.
if they want to do it.
Business.
um, Anybody, any other commentary? No? Bruce, Dan? Betsy? All right. I guess roll call vote to approve the Class K liquor license.
Bruce Moore,
Yes.
Betsy Straw,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Owen Costanza.
Yes.
The item number 5, Class K liquor license for Hideout Bar and Grill passes. Moving on to item number 6, do we have a motion to discuss and approve ordinance 2024 to be determined, an ordinance of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, amending Title 1 Administration, Chapter 6 Village Officers and Employees, Article H, Reserved of the Code to hereby create the position of Village Administrator.
So moved.
Got a motion by Austin
Second.
and a second by Betsy. Open for discussion. Did anybody have any commentary on this? Yes.
So this ordinance should be the same ordinance that used to be in effect. It was removed when Mr. Costanza was the village president under that board. And so I had asked Attorney Zito to basically get that language that used to be in our statute, add it back in so that we can possibly get an administrator for the village.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Over here.
Yes, Jeff. Or Dan.
There wasn't a lot of info on this in the packet. I guess I would like to see maybe a spreadsheet, something more with, yeah, I've seen that, but it doesn't, population to population. Like now these have what they're getting paid, what their duties are. It just says has it or doesn't has it. Right. And that, there's really no information on this. I'd like to see some kind of spreadsheet of the ones that do have it, that are close to our population. What are they paying them? What are their duties? What are we looking for,
Well,
150 grand, I think it needs a little more background information. I wasn't here in the previous administration, so I don't know about that ordinance. I don't know how it operated.
yeah,
I don't think it says it's 150 grand in here.
no, it doesn't.
Well, I base it on the budget, so I base it on,
Yeah, there's all different ways to have duties for a village administrator. A village administrator could be part-time, village administrator could be a contract service. There's several different ways you can do that.
that's kind of what I'm getting at, is
What are we doing?
more information, what are we looking for? I think we should discuss more
Well,
on, if we want part-time contracted, what do we want to do here? I know we line item to 150, what are we ballparking? What are the villages that have them within our population area, what are they paying theirs? Some
Yeah.
comparisons, I guess, would be the word I'm looking for.
I think a lot of that all is going to be determined going forward. And this is just an ordinance to allow the ability to hire a village administrator. And so as we go forward with forensics audit and some other items, that will all be determined, is the way I see it. And we don't know exactly yet.
Mr. President?
So,
Yes, Austin?
I would say that's exactly right. This is the same ordinance that used to be in effect in the village. It doesn't spell out what a village administrator would be paid, whether they have to be full-time or part-time. This is just simply adopting the ordinance that would allow us to hire a village administrator. At that time, it would be more appropriate to go over the details of salary and whether we want full-time or part-time administrator.
kind of the way I see it. A lot of those detailed questions have to be determined. Oh, you got your hand on?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I agree with and see what Dan's saying. We should build this resume of what we want from a village administrator before we make an ordinance. Because this could be 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the road. The budget's not even approved yet. So we don't even have the funds for this yet approved. So why are we jumping, I feel like we're jumping the gun. We're not really thinking this through. I think we should take some more time, work together as a board, come up with job duties, descriptions, and then put together when we do decide to do something, have it all laid out. When we go out to put it out as an ad for hiring, we're prepared. They're gonna look, they're gonna have an idea of what their duties are, what their job tasks are gonna be, what they need to, do for the community, what's expected of them from the board, from the village president, from, overseeing staff duties, things like that. This should be all laid out before we put it into, we do it the right way, we take our time, it's well thought out, and then we might possibly have more people ready to apply when the time comes, when the decision's made, if the village decides and the board decides to hire a village administrator. But my concern is, we're jumping the gun. Let's get the funds approved, let's make sure your budget's approved, we have it, then we move on to the ordinance, set the job description, lay out the duties, things like that, what's expected of them, what their hours are gonna be, what their salary's gonna be, what their benefits are gonna be, and do it the right way. That's my opinion.
Yes, Austin?
There is a description in the ordinance of what the duties of the village administrator would be, so I don't.
So does anybody want to
There.
put input on that and add
Excuse
to
me.
it? Here we go.
So we already have in the ordinance, just what used to be in there back when we had a village administrator, laying out exactly what the duties of the village administrator would be. I believe that there's some people who would rather not have that oversight here, and that's the real motivation here for these concerns.
This is how old of an ordinance. That's what I'm saying, we need to refresh it, we need to update it. That's why I didn't understand why we're having the attorneys spend time bringing this back up when we haven't really discussed it as a board. My email reply was, why are we even discussing, why are we having the attorneys waste time and money on this when we haven't even discussed it as a board? Get our input in on it, put our input on the job duties, refresh it, make it new, and then move forward and have it approved in a budget before we did all this.
Done.
Yes, Owen?
So to bounce off of Austin's comments, the oversight in the village is the board, not an administrator. We had a part-time administrator who felt that administrator couldn't fulfill their job part-time, became full-time very, very quickly within months. It just didn't work, and I had meetings with the administrators associations, which said for a village our size, in the amount we were paying, it wasn't really appealing to get that. I had met some really quality administrators in IML. And again, our size. I mean, we've got a treasurer that has 3.5 employees, if you count Katie as half, the clerk who oversees half of Katie, and a public works director that oversees 4 employees. Not really sure what the administrator would do at this point in time unless we cut somebody else out of the picture.
Yes, Austin?
Having a village administrator could actually save costs to the village in the long run. It is not the board or the president's job to manage the day-to-day tasks of the village and oversight of the village. There is a couple-page memo in the agenda packet laying out a lot of benefits of having a village administrator, and I think that we should adopt this ordinance today to pave the way for the possibility of finding and hiring a village administrator.
Don, we've heard this
Yes.
story before about the administrator saving us time and money and actually writing ordinances, and it ended up costing us more money because the administrator became in conflict with the clerk's office and the lawyer's office and other people. But we've heard this story before, that I'll save you money if we do this. Bring in the CEO that makes $1 million, it's going to make $10 million.
Yes, Jeff?
Another option for us could be is that we have a consulting firm come in, go through our office, look at what the
employees are doing, look at their job descriptions, or even maybe create job descriptions for them. Look at any controls or any things that need to be changed, take their recommendations, and really see if they decide if we need a village administrator, or do we just need to make some corrections with the employees that we have? Instead of investing $150,000, whatever it might be for a village administrator, why don't we invest in our employees first? Give them a chance to have some guidance.
The tools they need.
It might be a lot less than the price of a village administrator with
Leadership
benefits
they need.
package and everything. You know, I don't see nothing wrong with a consulting firm to come in and look at our office. There are companies that do that, and have them give us feedback. Have them report to us what they find. Have them come in for 30 days or whatever time that they might need to oversee and look and make changes to make our office more productive.
You're kind of repeating what I said, that there are contract services, there are part-time services that do assist in village administration. And so to hire a permanent employee at this stage of the game may not be necessary, but a village administrator certainly seems to be necessary in some capacity. And that's what I think that we need to determine going forward here.
Don?
Yes, Betsy?
Wasn't there prior to all of this, the treasurer was part-time, I believe?
Yeah.
And you had a village administrator, and there was conflict with other people on the board, is my understanding. But if we have a village administrator, and I don't think the $150 amount is valid to be thrown out there. I had kept saying it should be way under that. And again, from using a outside source. So we had, under Owen's administration, someone come in and talk about processes that needed to be.
Sickage.
And do we know if all of those were done and are still being followed? So if we had a administrator come from, say, a part-time administrator come in and review some of those things, because we've already had that study done, that could be their first, role in all of this, because we've already reviewed some of it.
Yep. Yes, Austin?
Mr. President, we've heard in past board meetings that Mr. Costanzo, when he was village president, deemed himself to be a department head, to use the village credit card, and he wanted to maintain
Point of
the
order, what
day-to-day
does that put
tasks
with this?
of the village.
I didn't mean myself.
Okay. Go ahead, Austin.
And also at Mr. Costanzo's request, I believe that the past village administrator who won awards for her budget was pushed out as a village administrator, and then shortly thereafter, this section of the ordinance was removed, so there would not be a village administrator.
That
A
was a
couple of
correction.
board
That was a
meetings
board
ago,
decision.
Attorney Zito corrected Mr. Costanzo in saying that, no, the president of the village is not a department head. And Mr. Costanzo, as we know, has political aspirations, perhaps to become the village president again. So I think this is all smokescreen to try and prevent the village administrator from coming in here and getting the village at the order that it should be in.
This is a discussion.
Yeah. And I agree. We've run into some very unusual difficulties without a village administrator, with elected officials taking the role as village administrator, and some things that have occurred don't appear to be quite copacetic. And so having a village administrator, I don't think the village president or some other elected officials are really appropriate to be acting as department heads. And so a village administrator would be, I think, an important resource to try to follow some of the ordinances more appropriately. Yes, Jeff.
The village administrator's position is only good and it's an appointed one, the term of the village president. We have an election in 10 months, 11 months, whatever it is. I think we've had Sickage come in, change the controls. We went through a book of controls like this down to about 4 or 5 pages. I think a consultant to come in, do some overseeing would be our best bet for the money, because we have some possibly big expenditures coming up that no one's really talking about, and we really need to think about and look at before we go in hiring more people, more benefits, more things like that, IMRF, everything like that, that we have to pay for an employee. Just like your forensic audit, we have auditors, but you want a forensic audit, that's an outsource, that's something different. We could bring in an outsource of a consultant to come in, look at the things once the audits are done, and make changes, and we invest in our employees. I think that's the best route. I think our employees have been beaten down in the last few years, and I think we need to invest in them.
Yes, Austin.
I've seen a copy of the internal control audit that was done. Not everything in there has been implemented, and after the village administrator was removed, many of those policies were just blatantly not followed. So that underlines the need for a village administrator, and I'd like to call the question.
All right. Yes, please.
Okay, so this ordinance, or this ordinance, section 2, where it talks about removal, 1-6H-4, it says the corporate authorities may remove the village administrator at any time by a 2/3 vote for the village board without incurring liability to the village administrator or any compensation due him, her for the remainder of the annual employment. What the Illinois Municipal Code actually provides is that the village president has the ability to remove appointed officers by presenting written charges, and then has to report the meeting to the board. And if the mayor fails to do that, then the officer can be restored to office, and then there's a vote on it, and it is a 2/3 vote. But this doesn't exactly track what Illinois law is. So my suggestion would be with that section under removal to just say that the appointed officer can be removed in accordance with the municipal code provisions.
All right.
Mr. President,
So
I would
we- yes.
move to amend the ordinance to that effect as suggested by the village attorney.
All right. We have let's see. We handle this as a...
Second.
Can you, excuse me? A motion to adopt is amended.
Okay. So we can, that amendment was pretty complicated, so it's hard for me to repeat that. So we got a motion to amend it and a second by Betsy
Follow the municipal code.
to follow the municipal code. So a motion by Austin, second by Betsy to follow.
Wait, I got a question.
Yes, yes.
Could you explain that ordinance again? I didn't,
What she's changed.
a little bit more clear here. I didn't.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. So what the Illinois Municipal Code says is, so this office that you're creating is an appointed office.
Right.
So the municipal code says that the mayor or president may remove an officer appointed under the code on any written charge whenever the mayor or president is of the opinion that the interests of the municipality demand removal. The mayor or president shall then report the reasons for the removal to the corporate authorities at a meeting to be held not less than 5 nor more than 10 days after the removal. If the mayor or president fails or refuses to report to the corporate authorities the reasons for removal, or if the corporate authorities by a 2/3 vote of all members authorized by law to be elected disapprove of the removal, the officer shall thereupon be restored to the office. The vote shall be by yeas and nays, which shall be entered upon the journal of the corporate authorities. Upon restoration, the officer will give a new bond and take a new oath of office. No officer shall be removed for a second time for the same offense. So that's the process for removing an appointed officer. The mayor then reports, you guys can veto that. What this says is contrary to actually law. It says that corporate authorities, that would be a vote of this entire entity, can remove the administrator at any time by a 2/3 vote, I think it should be of the village board without incurring liability. That's just not the right process, because the mayor could then vote against that, and it's taking away his removal power. So what I would say, that section, so the part that says I-6H-4 removal, I think that should say the village administrator may be removed in accordance with, and then the statute is 65 ILCS 5/3.1-35-10. That way, it's clear that it's in accordance with the law.
All right.
That makes
Done?
Yes,
One
Owen.
last comment. both administrators resigned. I wasn't president.
Nobody was forced out.
I mean, that's a different, there are different ways that that office can become vacant. So resignation is one of them, death is one of them, right? But if it's actually going to be removed by the public body, we have to follow the right process.
Well, I think Owen is just correct, and trustee Davies, forced out. No one was forced out. We've had 2 village administrators, they've both resigned.
Do we know what the reasons why they,
We can't discuss that.
Yeah, we
okay, discuss, yeah, okay.
I would, again, reiterate, moving to adopt the ordinance as suggested to be amended by the village attorney.
All right. Okay, well, we've gone back and forth, everybody's had an opportunity to speak multiple times. We have basically a call a question here.
So you're gonna move forward with it?
We will have a roll call vote to decide if we're going to go forward with it as amended. So do we need to have, we got a motion to amend it or to approve it as amended. We need to have a separate motion just to amend it.
No,
Or do we just,
you can just do a motion to approve as amended with having the amendment.
okay.
Who made the motion?
Austin made the motion, Betsy made the second. And then, and so we are ready for a roll call vote.
So I want to be clear on what we're voting on.
Yes.
The ordinance.
Okay. The ordinance.
Yes, as the ordinance to allow for an administrator amended as she described, which follows municipal code on the appointment process by the mayor and the approval by the board, and/or for the removal of an officer, which is a standard law for any officer, where the mayor has the right to remove, and then it needs to be approved by a 2/3 majority of the board, if I recall correctly.
So an officer
And
is,
the board can veto the mayor's removal by a 2/3 vote.
so they're understanding.
Reinstating the person.
Treasurer or of course,
All appointed.
or a village attorney, that's anyone that's appointed to the village president.
He just neglected to put that language in here.
Right.
He put something else in there that wasn't consistent with municipal law. Actually, we have that in other ordinances for removal of officers that reflect the proper language that you mentioned. So we're just being consistent. So, barring any final comment, roll call vote?
Dan Cheek,
Abstain.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
Owen Costanza.
Given our liabilities that are forthcoming with the water treatment plants, digging a new well, our SCADA system, and our roads.
Point of order.
We technically, we're just looking for a vote at this point.
Betsy Straw. Yes. Jeff Goings.
Unfortunately, no, I do not feel it's the best interest
Point
of
of
the
order.
taxpayers' dollars. We have a lot of major other things that we should be investing in for our future.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, that's a no vote from Jeff, and I assume that was a no vote from Owen?
Yes.
She said no.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
Bruce Moore.
Yes.
Okay. The vote passed, and, well, since we had an abstention, I don't even have to vote on this, but I will vote yes. So the motion to install ordinance for a Village of Poplar Grove Village Administrator in Title I passes. All right, moving on to item number 7. We have a motion to discuss and approve retaining Green Forensics Accounting Solutions LLP to perform a forensics audit for this is, the language isn't Correct, it says it can be amended here. But do we have a motion to discuss and approve retaining Green Forensics Audit Solutions LLP to perform a forensics audit for January 2019 to December of 2022? And those dates aren't actually accurate, but
3 years?
Motion second.
so we had a motion by Betsy?
Yeah.
Okay,
Second?
second by Austin. And I would like to make a motion to note to change those dates to be unspecified
Why are they unspecified, Mr. President?
because the audit begins with the village credit card. And it spans several years, and that's going to be up to the forensics auditor on where this goes. They're not going to be restricted by a day or a date.
Counselor, first challenging question for you.
Yes?
Oh, Counselor. I think you guys sent us an opinion on that, whether the president can make a motion or not.
Well, I think, under general parliamentary rules, usually the chair of the public body is not a movement.
Right.
Is
Not
one-
I think you sent us an opinion.
Yeah, we did. But my other concern is that if we modify the dates other than what's specified on the agenda, that could be an open meetings act issue. So if you want it to at least cover this period, I would leave that part on there, and then you can expand or restrict it by further action later.
Okay.
So are you calling for a motion, or are you making a motion?
I was actually making a motion, but if I'm not allowed to make a motion, I'm calling for a motion. And from my understanding of municipal laws, the village president is allowed to participate.
Yeah, you can call for a motion.
He could call or make.
Call for a motion, which is what you just said you was doing.
Right. He said he was going to make a motion. That's why I'm asking.
Or call.
What, here, define this for us. What is the village president? Is he allowed to make motions or just call for motions? Because there was been some discrepancies in the past.
Yeah, we had a big argument over that in the
Yes.
past, and I quoted sections of municipal law that says that the village president is allowed to participate in.
Make motions.
Right, so, I mean, it's not, the problem with this particular question is that this is not a black or white area of law. If you look at Robert's, and we did provide a previous opinion on this, but what that opinion said is that when you look at Robert's Rules of Order, usually in a deliberative body that's continuously in session, the head of the public body is running the meeting and is not a movement, right? But it doesn't say that they cannot ever do that. And so that's where he's talking about under the Illinois Municipal Code. That, you know, at times, as a, like informally, when Robert's Rules of Order were written, they were for deliberative bodies continuously in session. They weren't really pared down for local governments like this. I don't know how strictly you've adhered to Robert's Rules of Order before, or if you've adopted a special procedural rule.
We violate Robert's rules on a regular basis by interrupting and getting outlandish and things like that around here. And we tend to follow Robert's Rules of Order for small boards, and it's very loose-knit, roundtable discussion.
I can look up our actual opinion. Was everybody provided with that opinion?
I recall that being sent to everybody.
I forgot that. I don't know if I got that.
So Don, back to the discussion.
Yes.
You said you were going to do 2023. You said you were going to have someone here to represent this company. When we brought this up to the agenda, we have no one here. Are they here from the company? Green?
No, it's a service that we're hiring, and
So they're not going to come in?
wasn't necessary for them to be here.
But you told us you would have someone here.
I would disagree with that. I thought you did say they'd be here to present.
That's what I thought as well.
I don't recall promising anybody was going to be
You
here.
didn't promise.
I asked them if
You
they
didn't-
felt it was necessary for them to be here. They didn't think it was necessary.
I would
So-
think that a professional service would
Be
present to
here.
us for questions and
But I thought I heard Seth, that he's gonna bring in two people, two different firms.
I thought we were, what's that?
I thought we were gonna look at two different
I
firms.
thought we were too, well, that's,
But that's what I thought I heard, but
Yeah.
maybe I'm
we
mistaken.
did hear that, but only one of them is here, which is our attorneys. That was one firm that was supposed to be here, and then his recommendation for Green was supposed to come so we could ask questions and kind of give us a brief explanation of how they go about doing this
What
forensic
are they
audit.
looking for, that kind of thing.
Well,
Yeah, but now we don't know, so.
well, you had 6 proposals that were all emailed to you that explained in detail what they do.
But you haven't answered the question of what you want them to do, what you're gonna ask them to do, because you
You have-
haven't really explained to other than credit cards.
You have their proposal right in the packet here. It
Okay,
explains
that's
the-
fine, I'm not gonna argue, just, it's fine. I'm not gonna argue, you didn't keep your word, for the record.
Okay, that's your opinion.
It is the truth.
All right. So as far as making a motion to amend the dates or leaving them open, did you say that
Later date.
that was okay?
Well, the way that it's listed right now is for these dates. So I would say, start with these dates if you at least want those dates audited.
Okay,
If they find that some of them are not necessary, if you want to expand that, then we can have a further motion of the board at another meeting,
gotcha.
expanding or limiting their role.
Okay, because the way I asked for this to be placed in here was to be in the amount of $25,000 and not be over $25,000. And it was supposed to be open-ended. But,
So, Don,
yes,
the quote specifically does say January to December. So I think that the motion can stand based on the quote that they've listed,
uh-huh,
and we can start with that.
okay. All right,
So this is not gonna exceed $25,000 these 3 years?
it may exceed that. My initial email said, the initial was for $25,000 approval. And when we discussed in the budget, it could go up as high as $60,000, depending upon what they find.
So here, once again, we're gonna approve this audit, we don't have an approved budget. We're spending,
We're jumping the gun again.
So I guess we'll just approve it the way it is and amend it later. Yes, Dan?
What are we looking to gain out of this? Just the controls? But I mean, that's kind of the idea of the administrators for controls, so I'm just curious to what the end game is with this audit, what we're expecting.
We've had lots of discussions about that. There was lots of public information that's been released about that. There has been 6 audits that describe in great detail what a forensics audit is for. I think it's
I mean,
crystal
there's
clear.
no, there's not, actually, otherwise I wouldn't answer that question. There's got to be something, an end game. I mean, like you said, I get the controls, but then you said that was the selling point on the administrator, was controls. And then you said there was a lot of discussion, and we did do discussion on our purchase agreement, we adjusted it, we discussed it, we implemented things that you wanted the clerk, or not the clerk, but yeah, the clerk and the treasurer, to include in the package, that's been implemented. It seems like we're, when we discussed, like I said, the purchasing policy, everything we've been trying to do has been getting done as far as controls go and what we expect in our packets. And if it's just controls, like I said, we're already looking to the admin for. So I don't quite understand what the end game is. I mean, you're looking for restitution if they find something? Are we just looking for the controls, or what are we looking for? Other than this forensic audit, I mean, you can say it, and it just doesn't There's got to be something expected from us other than just the controls. Because like I said, that was admins, you're looking for controls there. So I don't see why we need two people to look for controls,
And
especially with these price tags.
we also, through employees, have spent about over $30,000, $35,000 in labor for your forensic audit, which you had every right to do. That's why I don't understand what you're looking for. If you look for 3 months, spent this money with labor with our employees, with Public Works and the office staff, we've spent a lot of money on this already. The budget is even approved, and here we are jumping the gun again. I don't understand why we can't do things in order. And do we really need this? Because from what you found, I don't think it's necessary. I mean, you're gonna do it regardless, but. I think you're wasting the taxpayers'
All right.
money, right? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Owen.
Question for you. I recall at the budget meeting we had, you said it could be 100,000. Could be 25, could be paid by the hour.
60 is the number that I used.
I don't remember.
The proposal right now does, on the last page, specify Green will provide an estimated not to exceed fee limit. Once we've assessed the records, we estimate that this will take 2 days on site for 2 individuals. So it sounds like they're prepared to try to determine a scope also.
Yep. And that's kind of the generality that I got from everybody. We had one company that said it was, what was it, $100,000 a year or something like that.
Per year.
It was like, whoa, way out there. And the other 5 companies I spoke to said that, do you want me to make up a number for you, or do you want to, take some of the control and risk yourself, and we determine on an hourly basis where we're going with this, as you manage it on a week-to-week basis with meetings? And I said that would make more sense. So if we begin the audit and there's nothing there, then they can come back and say, well, there's nothing there, you're wasting your money, and then you can cut your losses. But if they do start looking into it and they say there is more we need to look at, then we have the option to go further. So,
I have a question.
yes,
So can we put a cap on it? Once they reach 25,000, we look at what they found.
well,
And
that's,
if they didn't find nothing else, said, we're done.
yep. Well, that,
Because otherwise they could just go on keep going on and on and on and on. And as we said, we've got stuff that we've got to get replaced.
right, it's,
So like, once they hit the 25,000, we see what they have, and then we can determine, does it need to go further, or let's move on.
correct. And
And
that's
that'll
why,
put everybody to rest on, I guess, what we're looking for. I'm not sure what we're looking for.
correct. That's why the first, what I requested was to have up to $25,000. And it's going to be paid as a service on an hourly basis. And they will give us an estimate after they do a preliminary audit. And then we can go on a week-by-week basis, pay them hourly as we have meetings and determine what it is. And the overall consensus was about $10,000 per year to do an audit, depending upon what needs to be done. So the intent on that was to cut things short at just doing a couple of years of audit. Not go any further. And after you do those first 2 years, then you decide, do we need to go further? We go further. The short answer to your question is
Yes, we can limit it at 25,000,
so
and
that,
then brought back in front of us.
Right.
Discuss what they found, and then go on, move on.
yes, Jim.
So why don't we go 12,500 and see what they find because it was for 1 year on the one bid for 12,500 for a full year of an audit. So why would we limit it to 12,500 in case we need money for something else? 'Cause initially you said it would be 5,000, 10,000, no more.
For preliminary audit.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if we need
So,
to have more
and-
money, we
and-
come back to the board.
And the commentary that I received from speaking to some individuals is you're probably best to do 2 years to determine.
We have
And so 2 years at 12,500 adds up to 25.
well, this says for 4 years on the thing.
That's because that's the way you wrote the RFP. But this is a service. This isn't like an RFP where you're going out to get a road built or a building built or buying a truck where you can get bids and quotes on it. This is
What is the
an hourly
attorney-
service.
What is the attorney, how does the attorney feel that we're doing it this way? Does she feel that we should have did an RFP, maybe assisted by her firm now, that she's gonna be our village attorney, or is she good with the way that we're doing it through you and not really have much to say about it? Not much of a choice.
We had 6 quotes based on an RFP.
But the way they were gotten was very secretive. No idea of what was said, no discussion between the village president and the companies. None whatsoever were we allowed. We asked for all the communications, we were denied.
Owen FOIA'd every email of mine.
I don't care what Owen
So you got all my emails.
I don't have any, no, those,
Your
I mean, if we're
FOIA
gonna-
said,
it did, but the FOIA that I received, if you want to talk about it, the FOIA I received from the village did not have anything that you supplied to us. There were no quotes attached, there were none of the email communications you attached, so.
and
We
you,
have no idea what you sent to these companies. That's
and-
why it's very uncomfortable.
Owen's got,
Spending money, taxpayers' dollars on this.
Owen's got all the emails. He can read them all and he can share them with you.
Mr. Saylor.
And you got 6 bids from 6 different companies on it.
You gave us the bids.
And you saw the emails. So,
I didn't see any emails.
okay, that's your opinion.
I'm telling you, I didn't see any emails.
One of the exceptions from the purchasing laws is for professional services. So there's no requirement by Illinois law that when you're seeking services from a professional entity like an auditor that you need that, like formal competitive bids. So it would just depend on what process the village board is comfortable with.
I'm not comfortable with this process that was put forth between us tonight.
We know that.
Well, it's the way you went about it, Don.
You haven't been comfortable from the beginning, Mr.
Don, you've
Goings.
called our employees crooks, you've called me crooks, you've called Owen crooks. How would you be comfortable?
That's your opinion, Mr. Goings.
Mr. President?
Yes,
Call the board.
I think that's probably a good idea. We're getting into name calling now.
No name calling, sir.
So have we got any more constructive commentary? If not, we've called the question.
Well, wait, do we actually have a motion in a second?
Yes.
Yes, we did have a motion and by Betsy and a second by Bruce.
No.
Second is my second.
Oh, it was,
My question was the $25,000
is that what it
cap,
was?
and
Okay.
I was talking about it.
Motion by Betsy, second by Austin. Okay,
To be written in.
all right,
We should get,
okay.
can we have that written in?
What's that?
It is in there. Well, it's not in here, but
The dates are in here and
25
as,
grand's in there?
no, it's not.
Should be.
It was written in there just as the quote was.
Doesn't it need to be published, council, if we're spending money, the amount?
No.
It doesn't?
All right, roll call, please.
Owen Costanza.
No.
Dan Cheek.
No.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
Bruce Moore.
Yes.
Betsy Straw. Yes. Jeff Goings.
absolutely not.
And I vote yes. So that's 4-3 yes. So the motion to approve Green Forensics Accounting Solutions LLP passes. Moving on, item number 8, we got a motion to discuss retaining Sickich to perform annual audit.
So moved.
Motion by Austin.
Second.
And signed by Dan, was that?
Yep.
We'll keep it in family.
This is all part of the discussion of the forensics audit, and Sickich was one of the companies that provided a quote for the forensics audit. And since ethics do not recommend having the same company do a forensics audit and do a regular annual audit, since our existing auditor has been with the village for 10 years and is general practice to rotate auditors to maintain the health of the process. Some say every 3 years is kind of the rule of thumb. I recommend we move forward with Sickich to perform an annual audit. And I'm waiting to hear back from them on a quote and whether or not they can do it in the time frame. The legal time frame was 180 days from the end of our fiscal year, with a potential 60-day extension if we request it from the comptroller's office, I guess, and they approve it. And so I'm waiting to hear back from Sickich whether or not they can do that. I have not heard back from Lauterbach and Amen at all, and I haven't reached out to them, so I don't know if they've even started or not. Aaron Zito mentioned they tried contacting him and there was no phone call back. Our regular auditor is out on maternity leave and there's somebody filling in for her, so I need to give them a call and see where we are at that. And this was just on here for discussion for public consumption and transparency of where we're at on that. And Lauterbach had some concerns. So that's all I had to say for this. If anybody had any questions or
This gentleman
anything
down
else.
here.
Yes, Jeff?
So you want to stop Lauterbach and Alman from doing this year's audit, or?
If they haven't started and they still have concerns, I have another company that can do it.
Oh, you got the letter from Jen saying that they were gonna start on the 20th of June.
Okay. Was there a letter that went out
Yeah.
that said that?
Yeah,
I don't recall that. I'll go back and look for that.
I can forward it to you. Just because you said you didn't hear back from anybody. I'll have to find it and I'll send it to you tonight when I get back home.
All
But there
right.
was a letter confirming with Karina and Jen, and then she said who the person would be for contact.
Okay.
That's next Thursday.
Yeah. So they plan on going ahead with everything.
Uh-huh.
If you sign, can you, you have to, yeah, you're
Yeah.
signing the agreement letter with them.
Yeah, there was a lot of confusion and rush about that where it wasn't clear on the time frame we had. And I'm waiting for a professional to actually tell me from an independent source how long it takes to perform an audit. And so
3 months. I think they said.
I don't know.
My question.
That's why
When
we-
is but your forensic audit won't conflict with 2023, right?
Nope,
So they should be fine to do our audit for.
doesn't matter.
Right. That was the only concern from Lauterbach and Alman. They didn't want to move forward if we were doing a forensic audit with the conflicting view of the year that they were going to audit us.
Well, the goal was to get a fresh set of eyes.
Which is fine, I agree, we should have new auditors. When I first started here, I was told 4 to 6 years, and it's been 10, so
Yeah.
I agree with that. Sickich is a big company, they've done other work for us, they filled in for us in prior years for stuff. We have a good relationship with them.
Oh, if they're not here, we don't have any quotes, so.
They're what?
We're under contract with Lauterbach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I don't think we should stop Lauterbach now, should we?
I don't know.
That would be an insult to them, or I
Well,
don't
we're
know.
under contract until.
Yeah, we have an agreement letter,
Last year.
because I think you have to give like 30-day notice prior to signing the agreement letter.
No idea.
I don't
I
either.
don't know what that looks
Maybe
like.
council can find out and reach out.
I don't know, it was a fact-finding mission. That's what I'm doing. I'm learning every day on this. So, all right, there's nothing to vote on there.
Move to adjourn. No, what do we got?
Number
We,
11.
yep, we're moving on to,
Oh, move to discuss closing Village Hall on July 5th.
yes, do we got a motion to discuss and approve Village Hall closing July 5?
So moved.
A motion by Owen and a second by Dan. July 4th is the 3rd, right? 5th is a Friday?
Yes.
Make it a 4-day holiday? Is that the plan?
Staff will use their personal sick, vacation,
Choice.
yeah, whatever, their personal time. They're not
Personal time or not,
get paid. It's up to them. Village is not paying any extra holiday.
Sounds fair.
But it wouldn't go against them if they took the day off. I don't know what your attendance policy is, what I'm saying.
No.
Right.
So they got, use their personal time or we consider sick and vacation time, personal time?
Well, okay, so if you're closing Village Hall and they don't want to use their sick or vacation time, they don't have the ability to come into work, right? So, all right, so what is, the purpose that you're closing Village Hall is, if it's not to get the employees off, what's the purpose then?
That's
The
what
staff wants it off because,
it
you know, they
falls
don't
on
want
a Thursday, the 4th, so the 5th would be Friday, they have a 4-day weekend, I'm guessing.
Right, but so if they want to take off and they're using their personal days, they can do that anyway without closing Village Hall, right?
Right,
Yeah.
but if nobody wants to come to work, why would we open Village Hall? Who's gonna be here?
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that if we're not, like usually the Village Hall is closed, then it's a paid holiday for the village and that would be a holiday.
The 4th would be, not the 5th.
Right, right. Okay, so you're not going to have any other ones that they're all fine, like with using their.
Yeah.
Everybody wants off.
Do we have a
Yes.
consensus from all the employees, or is there anybody, none of the union guys?
I talked to all the front staff and David, and they all said everybody is fine with
So
it.
how do we work that with our department heads?
Well, they're exempt employees anyway, probably,
They're exempt.
right, so.
So this would be Public Works, this would be everybody.
So, but we do have someone on call for
Yes.
emergency.
Mr. President,
Yes, Austin?
can I ask a village attorney question?
Yeah.
If we voted to close Village Hall on Friday, July 5th, wouldn't, I don't know exactly what's the policy book, but wouldn't people not be required to use any personal time then to take off?
Usually, that's why I asked about that,
Yeah, that-
because they wouldn't have the option of working that day.
Right. So I'm not in favor of it for that reason. They can still use their personal time if they want to.
So it would be amend the motion to say that everybody is allowed to use their personal time.
if everybody takes off.
You actually don't need a motion then, because they're allowed
Yeah.
to do that anyway. So
And-
they want
They probably just want to get paid.
And if nobody's here, then the doors are locked and we're
If they want
closed.
to get paid, they can use vacation time.
Unofficially.
If they don't, but don't hit them with it,
Okay.
you know, if you got an attendance policy. You don't give them a
Speak
charge.
up so we can hear you, 'cause they're gonna be like,
All right, what we're talking about down here, just so we're all clear, you know what I'm saying? They want to take the day off, they have an option, they could use a vacation day, personal day, but they're not, if you have an attendance policy, they're not going to get dinged in the attendance policy. That's all.
So I think the technicality is here is if we make a motion to officially close July 5th, we could cause an argument, especially since we've discussed it now. So technically, we can't officially close, but
No
we,
one shows up to work.
then nobody will be here, so.
Well, don't they have to tell you in advance if they want to take a day off?
So that's when they're at, almost a month ahead.
Yeah, so if you grant the request to take the time off, you have to make a motion in addition to close the hall. Usually if you're making a motion to close, then it looks like it's a holiday for everybody because it's off. But you could also do that.
Gotcha. So we need a motion to cancel this, or just not vote on it, or just vote it down. So if everybody wants to take off, everybody can take off. So, or amend this to say, we allow everybody to
Why don't
take off.
Amend the
Yes.
Table, definitely.
Well, you just need no action.
No, just don't,
You just remove it from the agenda.
Okay,
But if you made a motion in a second, you can withdraw that. I forgot where we were in this process. If there was a motion in a second.
yeah,
I withdraw my motion.
Yes.
okay. So the motion and the second is withdrawn, and
Move to adjourn.
we scratch it and take no action.
Move to adjourn.
And we got a motion to adjourn by Owen,
Second.
and a second by Austin, beat you. And those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? We are adjourned at 8:26 on June 12th.
Hey, John.
Yes.